Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mobile Bev Pros podcast, a podcast dedicated to providing mobile bar and event professionals with the information they need to succeed. I'm your host, business coach, and founder of the Mobile Bar Academy, Sarah Murphy. In each episode, the Mobile Bev Pros team will bring you industry experts, information, anecdotes, and opinions with the goal of assisting you in building a profitable, sustainable, and successful business that supports you in creating wealth. I'm excited to share with you today's episode, so let's get started.
Well, hello, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are riffing on premium website structure, more so the shit we have seen that is not premium or luxury on the websites of the many mobile bar owners that we know and love and support in this community. Because we know that a strong website is just one part of your business and how you call people in, but it's like a huge part, right? Because if you've ever wondered about someone, you've clicked on their Instagram. If they had a link, you followed the link, right? If they're going to book you, theoretically, they're going to do that through your website. And so for you guys, especially, the website is such a pivotal premium touch point, and you have opportunity to increase profit greatly from a well optimized premium website or decrease it greatly when your website is busted. So we're going to talk about the busted ass websites that we have seen in the ethers and some common mistakes that we see, some common pitfalls. Sarah, you spend a lot of time auditing websites as well as other assets in the current version of the accelerator program. And you are no stranger to some of these pitfalls. And so we're going to talk today about some of the things that you've seen, that you're seeing frequently, that you're seeing often, and how that really damages a mobile bar's reputation quickly.
As everyone listening probably knows because of the last episode, and if you haven't listened to that one, pure gold in it, go back, take a listen. I'm in the process of building out a program that we have lovingly titled Pivot to Premium. Is that the final title? We don't know, but that's what we're calling it at the moment. And part of that program is building out guidance for what it looks like to represent yourself online in a way that attracts the premium buyer. So either being a premium brand or offering a premium offer. And I, in this process, have been investigating the websites across the ether, specifically looking for those that reference themselves in the SEO as a premium mobile bar or a luxury mobile bar or supporting the luxury market. And I am profoundly confused and disappointed. I was able to find exactly two websites that I thought really did a good job of embodying premium and what premium feels like, what it looks like, and what it sounds like. And to your point, the website is so important because it's your home online. Like if you wanted to tell people that you were premium and you invited them over to your house, the one that you live in, and like it gave zero premium vibes, there'd be a cognitive dissonance between like, okay, you said this, but this is how you're showing up. And even so much as yesterday, we got an email, we kind of did some research. They stated that they were a luxury service. Their Instagram did not look luxury. Their website looked the opposite of luxury. And when you say that you are something, but then you present yourself differently, that creates a lack of trust from the buyer. Because if you're saying one thing and doing another here, where else in this experience you're going to say one thing and do another? You say you're going to create a unique bar experience. Maybe I'm just going to get the same old bar experience that everybody else has gotten, as an example, right? And so as a part of this program, building out framework guidance as to what does it look like to be premium, not just say you're premium. Again, like we want to show, not tell. And so today I figure we can talk about some of the things that really impede one from presenting themselves as premium.
You and I live in the space of nuance. That's where we find the most beauty, that everything has this flow of true and not true, right? And there are no laws. There are just frameworks, and you want that framework to adhere to the genius of the creator. That's you guys. You guys are the genius creators that I'm talking about here. And so when we say something on a podcast or in a free webinar, and you guys take that information and run with it as if it was law, as if it was that simple, you actually put yourself into a little box that doesn't serve you. And if you're like, Dawn, then how am I supposed to learn? I need you to take our information here and I need you to recognize that this is always, when you guys get information from us in these podcasts, they are always part of a greater picture. And so taking one piece of advice out of context and going full steam ahead with it may not be the best approach for you and your business. It might have been the best approach for 1,000 mobile bars that we had supported in the past, and it might not be what's right for you. That actually takes what Sarah does so well and what we're going to do in our 1 to 2 containers, an audit, an overall audit where we look at who you are versus who you want to be, where you are versus where you want to be. And we help you nail down your core offer, your messaging, your mission, your vision, your values in the world. And then we help you disseminate that information in a way that feels authentic and potent to your market, right? Because there's always multiple players on the field here. It's you and it's your client, and we need to bridge that gap. So we can't give one size fits all advice here on the podcast because you're not a one size fits all mobile bar owner. Hopefully, you're not a one size fits all mobile bar. If you are, you're in the wrong place. This is the bad podcast for you. There are other people probably doing this that can teach you to just step by step, here's what you do. And we had the academy for that. It tells you how to get legal. It tells you what to do next and what to do next and what to do next. But even then, we find academy members who raise their hand and say, how can I go deeper with you? And they jump into the accelerator, or accelerators who raise their hand and say, how can I go deeper with you? And they jump into the 1 to 2 because they recognize when they get their hands on this work that there's always progression. There's always that nuance that can make them even more potent in their field. As an example, one of the websites that we chose to audit was a mobile bar business that we really admire. And their website had so many red flags that show us why they're not making the money that they want to make, why they're not seeing the success that they want in the world. The problem here and the ache that you and I have in our bellies is that they are easy fixes. If we had one conversation with them, they could be making bank tomorrow because they're easy fixes. They're obvious to us. You guys get bogged down in the weeds. You're doing all the shit. You're wearing all the hats. It's easy for you guys to get lost in it.
Yeah, 100%. There's 5 general things that I look for in a website when I'm doing a review. The first thing is design. I mean, that's low hanging. When we're looking at a premium design, and this is anywhere, anything, whether it's going into a premium boutique, whether it's a luxury hotel, whatever it is, there are a few things that we're looking at. The first is obviously like the visual aspect. So with websites, we're looking at typography, we're looking at colors, like the color palette, and we're looking at space. Typography have archetypes. Okay, so if you're using a super fun and bubbly archetype, you better be a fun and bubbly brand. This isn't always the case. We oftentimes will see typography that's really out of alignment with the vibe of the company and the rest of the website. We also tend to see lots of filling of space. There's lots of stuff everywhere. It's scrunched. One of the most common pieces of feedback I give when I do website reviews is like, please, more space here. Like one section is just butted right up against the next section with very little breathing room, and it makes it look cluttered. The brain wants space when we're looking at things. The other thing that we see is that different images are competing for attention. This came up with one yesterday, actually. There was a video that they wanted people to watch, but next to that video to the right was a picture of like their smiling face. And smiling faces will always get more attention than a video that says press play, right? Because our brains are wired to look at faces, especially if they're happy. And so if you want someone to play the video, don't compete with attention for it, right? Make sure that it has its own space for the brain to register it. So design being the very first one. Primary colors don't belong on a premium website. And we already went over that, I think, in the last one. As an example, we want to see subtle colors. We want to see the saturation. So like a navy blue, premium. Bright blue, not so much, right? And we also want the colors to match the overall archetype. So if your archetype is the caregiver, for example, yeah, blue works nice. A soft blue, a navy blue, a blue that has, a darker saturation. Amazing. Primary blue? No. And by that, I mean like Facebook blue, like Meta blue. It isn't really given premium vibes. The other thing that we look at design wise is imagery. If you have low quality, grainy, or even like imagery that doesn't light up all of the dopamine parts of your brain, right? So smiling faces, beautiful colors, again, space. They're not well curated. They're kind of busy or messy or like maybe taken with your iPhone, but not in a very curated way. It's just like behind the scenes type of way. If it looks chaotic, it'll feel chaotic, right? And so imagery is used to evoke emotion. So we want the imagery that you're utilizing to evoke the emotion that you're trying to associate with your brand.
We also want that imagery to be about the client. And so if I go on your website and it's just pictures of you, that's not aspirational. That's not telling or selling me anything. Now, if it's a picture of you bartending with an incredible line of customers who are all excited to be there, that's different, right? Because that's a picture of the experience. But if I go to your website and it's just your face, or it's just an image of you like out of context, like you're not at your mobile bar, is not even pictured, then like, what do you do? What do you do? The other thing I want to say about primary colors here is that the only time you get away with a primary color being premium or luxury is red. But you have to understand how to use red magic and when to use red magic if you are going to go that route. And so we see this with Louboutin with their red bottoms. So red is their signature, right? But they also use an incredible amount of blood magic in all of their marketing. And so it's relevant to them. We also see a lot of red being used at McDonald's. Those are two very different things, same color red, okay? And so it's not as simple. Again, I want to reiterate, Sarah right now is giving you gold, but it's not as simple as being like, I'll just change all my colors to blue, but not Facebook blue, just dark blue. It's also not as simple as being like, take all the pictures of me smiling off because I want them to click my call to action. Because we need pictures of you smiling. They have to be the right pictures of you smiling. And this is why it's hard to convey, because like what you're saying here is a vibe. And so like really people pay us to vibe check. Right? That's what we're doing all day. Like we're auditing your shit, we're vibe checking here. And so it's not like a bullet list of things that like only green is premium. When in fact, actually, like some greens are not premium, to your point, some blues, some greens are very premium. How are they used? How often are they used? To what degree are they used? All of these things make a difference.
Absolutely. There's like a little phrase that keeps coming up here. And the Supreme Court once upon a time was like, we don't really have a definition for porn, but you know it when you see it. Like same thing here with premium. We don't really have a definition or a checklist that we can be like, these are the things that we require in order to deem yourself premium. But like it's a vibe, you know it when you see it. And so we just have gotten really good at identifying what the vibe looks like, feels like, and sounds like when you're talking about the words around here. So the second thing that I look for after design is user experience. And one of the things that people do frequently is they create entirely too much friction for the client in taking and moving to the next step. So what does friction look like in a website? If I cannot find easily available at any point when I'm scrolling your homepage, how to take the next step, that's friction. If I have to scroll, if I have to search, if I have to click around, if that get a quote or contact us button is not always visible wherever it is that I am, then you're creating friction.
Somebody asked us to give feedback on their website in the Facebook group. And I don't generally check the Facebook group, but that day I happened to be in it and I was like, yeah, what's up? I got extra energy. So I went and I clicked on their website and I was like, oh, no, 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 no. And so my biggest feedback was like, it's so hard for me to contact you. Like, I don't know where to go. Their response to me was like, it's clearly in the footer. No, you can't clearly be in the footer. Nothing is clearly in the foot. The definition of the footer is that it's not clearly accessible. You know what I mean? And so like when you say clearly, and again, nuance, because what we don't want is your whole page to be a contact us and to have no woo, no sensuality, no enchantment.
That's right. Another way that we see friction here is that if they find the contact us button and they perform the contact us task. Either we see way too many questions, so they're like literally a 15-minute endeavor that causes them to have to like, oh shit, which one of these do I want, the Charlie or the Angela or the Bob like bar? Oh, I don't even remember which ones those were. I got to click back out, take a look, click back in, finish the application. Or they don't ask enough questions, and so they fill out the information, and then the person who's receiving it has to be like, hey, let's hop on a call, or thanks for your inquiry. Can you give me more context? Like, that's friction. The more back and forth that has to happen, or the longer I have to spend getting you the information that you need in order to get me that proposal or the information that I'm seeking, the more friction is involved, the more likely you are to have people drop off. The silly example is yesterday, I got a form to sign my daughter up for like this little camp, and it was a Google form, and it had 2 pages. And the first one had like 6 questions. And I was like, cool. Then the next page had like, it was literally everything that they could possibly ask me. It was like my insurance information. It was my emergency contact information. It was shot records. It was everything. I was like, not today, Satan. That'll wait. You know what I mean? And like for that, like, well, they don't care. But if that's your client, if they're looking at that process and being like, oh, this is a chore, that is not premium at all. The whole purpose of premium is that you're solving a pain point for them. We want this to be simple, easy, breathy. We want it to feel liberating to experience the entire journey. No friction. Yes, you need information from them, but only this much information. If you're asking more than what is absolutely necessary for every additional second, every additional question that you're asking them, you are potentially losing them. And so we want to keep that as tight as possible. And so that's just one example of user experience. There's other things where if things aren't loading, if buttons don't work, if it's hard to find what I'm looking for, all of those things are things that I look for when I'm going over a website.
And I will say too, don't take what Sarah just said and go to your website and put, we make great event bars easy and simple. What did you say? Breathy. And you said another one. We've noticed that too, that a lot of people are taking like verbatim and they're just putting that on their website. When we tell you it's important for your clients to know your mission, your vision, and your values, we do not mean that you should just put your mission and your vision and your values at the very top of your website. That's tell. We want you to show, right? And so how can you show someone what your values are without saying, these are my values? Now, it's okay if on some other page that's not your home page, that's not the contact us page, on maybe your about us, you have your mission, your vision, and your values. But even then, if you bullet point that where it's like, here's our mission, here's our vision, and here's our values, that's not sexy. In the premium space, we're curating an experience, right? And so even this touch point of your website, me learning what your values are needs to be mysterious and fun and obvious. Can you be obvious and mysterious at the same time? Yes, you absolutely can. I'm telling you guys, like, we do this work all day long. This is why it's so nuanced, right? Because when we tell you it needs to be obvious, we don't mean like paste it at the top of your website. But when we tell you it needs to be mysterious, we also don't mean make them work for it, right? There's this like beautiful blending that gets to happen somewhere in between those things. The other thing that you often see is people who, instead of having like super long contact us forms or like get a quote forms, you have people not requiring any information, but you have to take a call. And we've harped on that in several podcast episodes. That is an absolute no-no. I should not have to get on the phone with you to get a quote for what we do. And the other piece here I would just want to mention is that, like, please don't let your e-cinch be customer facing. I feel like we've said that a number of times, but we've actually run into that a lot lately. Your e-cinch is for you. E-cinch is for you to quote seamlessly on the back end. Your client should never come in contact with e-cinch because it wasn't made for, well, maybe it was supposed to be made for that, but it wasn't. It doesn't do that very well. That's not a news story. If Joel, if you're listening, you know that's not a news story. It doesn't interact with your customer very well. It asks too
Right.
many questions on shit they don't know.
That's right. And Joel knows that this is one of my biggest hangups with eCinch is that it is meant to be easy to use and it's meant to present that information to the client in a way that is friendly and visual. And it, from a premium aspect, it does not accomplish any of those things well. It is confusing. It's overwhelming. The client doesn't know what they need. It doesn't know how much they need. It doesn't know, do I need all the cocktails, none cocktails? Like, do these things overlap? You do. As the business owner, you know how you run your business. Don't ask your clients to have that all figured out. But eCinch as a software still to this day is, in my opinion, the software that allows mobile bars to package and bundle the way that we charge, which is per person, per hour, per item, per client, whatever it is, it has the most amount of flexibility. And so it makes quoting super simple. If you're in the academy and you watch our powerful proposals webinar that's in there, we talk about where eCinch could live within your proposal process, but neither here nor there. I think talking about this really does emphasize what we mean by premium. If you're sending the eCinch link and you're expecting them to know what to do with that straight out of the gate, then that's not a premium experience, right? We want to white glove this for people. We don't want them to have to know more about our industry than they have to. All they know is that they have a need and a desire for a premium bar experience. That should be the end of what they, like, they're coming to you as the expert. This is what I want. How do you do this for me? And so asking them to do all the work of putting together that package or those bundles, like, that's not a premium experience. As an exercise that people can take away, look at your website and ask yourself, do I visually tell people why we do what we do and how we do what we do? Those two things. I was going through some programming that I'm a student of, and they asked this question: can you describe what you're selling without listing what's included? And like, I had to write that down. I paused it like 3 times to make sure I got that right. Can you describe what you're selling without listing what's included? And we talk about storytelling. This is where that lives, because the next thing that I look for when I'm going over website reviews is storytelling. And storytelling is the use of words that journey people, right? So you are the guide for people and they are the hero in the story. And so we want to describe to them through words that we know where they are in that journey and what they need. And we do that through showing them. We do that through the use of words, not many words. We want more images than words. We want more space than words. But yes, we definitely need to use words. And where we use words is important. The more premium websites have just more imagery, better imagery that demonstrates how we do what we do and the why. To your point, like, if diversity is important to you, we have a lot of clients that are like, my goal is to give military wives a job, or I'm going to pass it on to my children, or whatever it is that your why is as to why you're doing what you're doing. I should be able to tell. Like, if your goal is to give military wives jobs when their husbands are stationed somewhere, I better see military wives like all over your website. And like, there's a number of ways that we can visually represent that. And but that should be core. If that's your why, that should be core. It should be obvious. Just smack me in the face when I go to your website as to who you are, what you do, and how you serve, without needing to read, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we serve. It's a vibe. Again, it's a vibe.
When I was little, my favorite movie was The Titanic. And when I was little, it was on 2 VHS tapes. You know what I'm saying? It was like really. Now, I haven't watched that movie with conscious eyes. And so it might be absolutely awful. We tried to watch Miss Congeniality the other night because I remember like loving it when I was a kid. And I was just like, what the fuck? This is why I had to decondition myself, was movies like this. You know what I mean? And so, anyway, The Titanic might be an absolutely awful movie. It was one of my favorites when I was little. Let's say it's a great movie. Okay. If I bought that movie, I opened it up and it was just a piece of paper, and that piece of paper said, rich girl falls in love with poor dude. Everybody dies except for rich girl. Was that a good story? Like, that's what happens. That's telling, right? But they didn't tell because we all cried and she said, I'll never let go. And then she immediately let go. You know what I mean? Like, the story was so robust. It was so good. They forgot to tell you never mind. I was going to get conspiracy theory rich right there, but I'm not going to do that. It's a good story. And even the deeper you go into it about who invested and who was mysteriously not on that boat that day, great story. You know what I mean? Great story. But they had to like evoke emotion, and they gave you a hope diamond. They gave you the heart of the ocean, right? Like they pulled so many pieces that like if you see a blue heart diamond, you're like, oh shit, that takes me back, right? You associate that archetype. That's the difference, because the story was simple. Rich girl falls in love with poor boy, everybody dies except the rich lady. And they didn't do that. And so when you go from here and you look at your website, you can do this work on your own. What I recommend is that you reach out to us about working in Pivot to Premium. We right now are forming that program for the public, but we do this every day for our private clients. We've already got people enrolled that we're doing the work with them right now on pivoting their business to premium so they can be more profitable, more fulfilled. Their business takes off, okay, in ways they never imagined. These are people who are already making $100,000, $150,000, $300,000 a year even, and they're just ready for that next level. At that point, it is wise for you to just invest in someone who already knows what premium looks like so that you don't have to trial and error. And I'll give you a hint. If you're doing the work now and you're not seeing premium clients, you're not seeing profit in your business, you're doing it wrong. We can help. It's an easy shift. In a matter of 6 months, 6 months from now, your business could be premium, it could be profitable, and you could be doing the damn thing. And it's scary to invest in yourself, but it's even scarier to keep trial and erroring when the roadmap already exists. We already know the way.
That's right. And we put people on the path every day. There's two more things that I look at when I review a website. The fourth thing here is consistency. Your website is your home, but we also want you showing up that way on your Instagram, in your TikTok, in your emails, in your lead funnel communications. The vibe needs to be consistent, right? And again, that's important so that you're able to build trust because you're showing up. This is who I am. If you show up this way over here and this way over there, there's this rift, there's this lack of trust that is subconscious. It doesn't even have to be something that they consciously are like, ooh, that's sketchy, I no longer trust you. It's just a vibe. We look for and seek for consistency in how people show up in order to build trust with them. So consistency across platforms and modalities and communication forms is the fourth thing that I look for. And then lastly, it is a overall general, I guess we could say the overall vibe, but the overall general emotional appeal and use of psychology and neuroscience in how it works. And so, for example, the one that I like to reference because it's low hanging is when I go to your website, before I scroll, before I touch anything, there's a few things that I want you to be doing to my brain. And that is making me feel welcome and seen. And we do that through the most effective way is imagery. So like if you have your hero image of a smiling individual or the aspiration that I'm here for, right? So if I'm hitting your website and there's this gorgeous image of a mobile bar with wonderfully crafted cocktails and a bartender that's smiling and handing someone that cocktail, awesome. Okay, that's aspirational. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for that experience where people are smiling, there's good drinks involved, it's a vibe. That is a psychological neuroscience tactic, right? We also want to utilize terminology and verbiage that invites people deeper, right? So maybe asking a question that that your ideal client would say yes to. And maybe I'm just going to throw off the cuff, but maybe like craft cocktails and like garden to glass is something that you're passionate about. You could ask a question. When you dream of your event, does it have garden to glass cocktails? If the answer is yes, they're going to keep scrolling because they're going to tell me more. How do I make this happen? Right. So we're using psychology and neuroscience to keep them engaged as they go down your site and they get deeper. The more amount of time they spend on your site and the more amount of things on your website that they see, you're building intimacy. And that's what we want. We want people to just fall in love with you as a brand and you as the experience so that by the time they're asking for pricing, like any price is a good price because I love you. And so like I value what you do, how you present yourself, who you are, the work that you do in the world. And like I know I'm going to have to invest in that. And I'm less price sensitive at that point because it's you that I'm investing in, right? And so that's the last thing that I look for. So I look for design. I look for the overall user experience and how much friction there is in taking the next step. I look for storytelling. I look for consistency, and I look for emotional appeal, psychology, the neuroscience of how our brains work when we are getting to know somebody and when we're seeking information.
The only nugget I would like to add here is around your big why. I recently was supporting a long-term mobile bar owner. He's been in business now like 7 years, I think he said. And when he talks about his big why and he talks about his business, he talks about his family and like wanting to be around his family more. And when he talks about his family, he like lights all the way up. When he talks about his business, he gets this like shadow over his face, this like very disgruntled demeanor and like I just wish it would go kind of feeling. And I asked him, like, well, what's your big why? And like, you guys are familiar with Simon Sinek, start with why. But if you've never done the work of really finding your why and then redone the work in a few years, because that why is likely to change often, then you've lost touch with the soul of your business. The why to me, this is giving Chariot for anybody who reads tarot. The why to me is the soul of the business. The vehicle of that business could be anything. It could be a Honda Fit, could be a G Class, could be a hipster bus, it could be a bicycle. Okay. It could be anything. Right. And a lot of people try and extract the why from the what. And that's backwards. So they'll say, I do mobile bar, right? And then they'll be like, well, why do I do mobile bar? And they're like, because I want to create awesome moments for people. That's weak. That's weak sauce. It's weak. And the reason it's weak is because you took what you do and try to extract the why. And it's the opposite. Your why should be so strong that you could take it out of this business and put it in an entirely different industry, and the why would still stand. And so I'll give you an example. Our why is to put people in power. Okay. Specifically, my why, because I don't want to speak for both of us, my why is to put women in power because I believe that women in power is how we will heal the world. It's how we'll change the world. Everything I do in my life is to put women in power because I believe that's how we change the world. That doesn't have shit to do with mobile bars, guys. I could do that as a cashier at Lowe's. You know what I mean? I'd be a hell of a cashier at Lowe's, by the way. But I could do that at Lowe's. Your why should be able to go and it should go everywhere with you. Don't plaster it at the top of your web page, but show people that's what you do. When you find your why, it will pull you out of bed in the morning. This friend that I was having a chat with that I was supporting, he said, well, freedom, I guess, is my big why. And I said, okay, I mean, he's 7 years into business. Do you already have freedom to like take time off, be with your family? He's like, yeah. Okay, that's not a big why anymore. You've checked that box. It can't be a goal if you've already done it. And so it's not pulling him out of bed anymore. It would if he got uncomfortable, right? And he had to like go get a job. Then he'd be like, oh shit, that why is important to me. But right now, that why is already operating. He needs something deeper. And that process of finding something deeper, it will pull you out of bed and you'll see it infused into everything you do. So your mobile bar business will become more magnetic, more delicious to your ideal clients because it comes from the why, not vice versa. We're not looking at the mobile bar and saying, why do I do this? We're looking at ourselves and saying, why do I get out of fucking bed in the morning? And then we infuse that into the what. So the what carries the why, not the other way around.
Love that you pointed that out because when we ad nauseum, we do the mission, vision, value work to begin with, right? And the mission being the why, the purpose. And we get a lot of people that give us those squishy, to your point, like to create unique bar experiences. Like that's the why. Fine, except for year 3, you're going to hit a wall and suddenly you hate your business. You're not even sure why you bought yourself this job because the why was so like, meh. I mean, creating unique bar experiences really have you hopping out of bed every day to hustle this business? A lot of times people are like, actually, I don't even like alcohol. Like, why am I using alcohol as this vessel to create unique bar experiences when I don't drink? And so if your why isn't rooted in you and your work in the world, then you will lose steam. And you'll also be very confused when you're trying to do your website and create your messaging and make yourself irresistible to the premium buyer because your why is kind of meh. And if your why is meh, then the premium buyer is going to be like, no, thank you. Whether you're wanting to be a premium brand or whether you're wanting to create a premium offer, the premium buyer is looking for someone who's solving a pain point that they cannot get solved with a mass market or budget option. That's what they're looking for. That's why they're investing at the premium level and they're willing to pay more, is because you're solving a problem for them that they can't get solved elsewhere. When we see people playing on price, it's because they're solving no new problem. There's no new problem there. They're just trying to charge more for things that other people are doing down here. And for a long time in this industry, it was like, well, we have a mobile bar. We have a camper, a horse trailer, a Piaggio Ape. And sometimes that'll do the job. Sometimes people are like, I'm willing to pay more to have that experience. But honestly, that's a cop out, because if all your competitors need to do is buy one of those used Piaggio Apes or campers that are going for sale for half of what it costs them to build it because there's so many of them on the market, then you're not a premium product, because that problem is no longer a premium problem to be solved. There are so many people out there who they have mobile bars and they are not renting them to begin with. And so that's not the problem that needs to be solved at the premium level. So look in your market and ask yourself, what are people out there desperate to have possible for them? They're willing to throw money at it. If someone can solve this problem for me and make this particular problem go away, I will throw money at it. Nobody's asking that question. And that's why there's no soul in these websites that we're looking at. And they're not tackling the problems that the premium buyer has, and they're not presenting their offer solution. If they are tackling a premium problem, they're not presenting it in a way that makes the premium buyer feel seen.
I lied. I have one more nugget that I would like to add. When we're reviewing these websites, the website should not be about you. Long pause intentionally. The website should not be about you. When you write sales copy, when you write conversion copy, when you write product copy, web page copy, funnel copy, whatever kind of, when you're writing and you're like, we do this and I love this and these are my values. We see a lot of I, right? And like we can do a whole episode on one of these, and we might, on like funnel issues, big mistakes for that people run into with their funnels. And it's always like I, we, I, we, I, we, I, we, I, we. And like I want you to be your favorite word in all of your copy, because that's what the client sees themselves in. And so if I lean on your webpage and it's about how awesome your business is and how amazing you are, I'm not interested, because what I really, now you hear that again, here we are with the nuance. This is what I'm telling you guys. Get into the 1-2 program, pivot to premium with Sarah and I, so that we can support you. 6 months, we're going to turn your business around. Okay. Because here's the thing, the nuance. How can you say we're amazing, you should work with us, and make that statement about the client? How can you say I'm the prize in a way that is about them? You see what I'm saying? And that's powerful. That's converting copy. That's the shit people want to see. They want to land on your website and they want to feel like they are home. This is where they were always meant to be. It's giving 11:11, like, oh, I was led here divinely. That's the type of vibe that we're trying to get, but they don't get that whenever they read your website and it's all about you. That's my last rant for the day, I think.
And for context there, I also want to add that if you are securing with regularity premium clients and you look at your website and you're like, I don't do any of this and I'm still booking the premium clients, one, amazing, because what that means is that you in other avenues have built yourself a reputation, probably with like your network, the people that you know, the referrals that you get. And so your website's not doing the heavy lifting for you. And that's amazing. We love that. Ideally, we'd want consistency across all avenues. But if you're getting premium clients and your website is not doing any of the things or only some of the things that we've described today, imagine all the additional premium clients that you could get if you were doing all of the things. That's what I want to leave people with here is there's always more. And the other thing here is that potentially you're just the best option in your market right now. Even though you're not doing all the things, you're the best that they got. So they can forgive a lot of sins. We don't like people being there because if you are there, all it takes is someone in your market to start showing up in a more premium way. And now you've lost that edge. Just because you had the best presentation before doesn't mean you do any more. And so we want to put people always in the place where they are the obvious choice for the premium buyer.
I pulled 2 of wands reversed for this conversation. And so I want to just say, if you're listening to this and you're overwhelmed, you're like, "Aw, shit, I got to go back to the drawing board." If you're feeling like you already have a tendency to overanalyze, if you're a perfectionist, we can help you. I know I've said it a number of times. We're enrolling at the 1 to 2 level, pivot to premium. We can help you. We can make it simple. Is it easy? No. No business is easy, but most business is simple, okay? And we can make it simple for you. The other thing that I'll say here is that if you are already, to Sarah's point, pulling premium clients, we love that. We don't know how long that will last. Okay. This time 4 years ago, there was no competition in your area. Now there's lots of competition in your area. That's only going to get, the water's only going to get hotter. You know what I mean? And so we want you, to Sarah's point, always to be the obvious choice. We can support you in doing that. The other thing that I'll say there, we are supporting currently people who have not even named their business. And they want to do it right the first time. They don't want to have to fuck around and find out. That's expensive, y'all. You can look at the programs that we offer and say, it's expensive to invest in my business. It's a lot more expensive to not invest in your business and to try and figure it out on your own, because that's losing you clients. Every day that you are not pivoting to premium, you're losing profit, right? And if you're in the premium space and you're like, I want more, right now we're supporting people who are making $500,000 a year and they want what's next. So to Sarah's point, there's always more. Whatever your next level is, we've been through all the different iterations of what creates an incredible mobile bar, what scales an incredible mobile bar, and even what offloads an incredible mobile bar at some point, right? We can help you there. And so DM us, hello@mobilebevpros.com. Hit us up in the emails. I will respond directly. I respond to all of our emails. And let's have a chat about how we can support you so that you're not losing out on cash by playing the waiting game. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This has been another awesome episode. We will chat with you all in the next one.
And that wraps up today's episode. I hope it was valuable. I would love to hear from you what you thought. You can drop me a line at hello@mobilebevpros.com or find me on Instagram @mobilebevpros. If you're looking for more valuable mobile bar related content, we have a website full of it. You can find us at www.mobilebevpros.com. And I'd love to see you in our Facebook community, also by the name of, you guessed it, Mobile Bev Pros. Thank you for joining me today. And until next time, cheers.